Imagine this. If your people had been slaves for generations, toiling under the scorching sun every day, oppressed by the Egyptians for a full 400 years. This was the situation of the Israelites at that time. Their cries reached the heavens, and God heard them. Thus, God chose an 80-year-old shepherd, Moses, and gave him an impossible mission: return the world's most powerful empire, Egypt, challenge Pharaoh at the peak of his power, and lead these 2 million slaves out. Moses said to Pharaoh, "The Lord says, 'Let my people go.'" But how could the arrogant Pharaoh agree? He replied, "Who is the Lord? I do not know him, and I will not let the people go." And so a war between gods began. God sent 10 plagues to strike Egypt. In the first plague, Moses struck the water of the Nile with his staff, and the entire river instantly turned into blood. The river that the Egyptians considered sacred was filled with stench and death. But Pharaoh's heart was as hard as stone. So disasters followed one after another. Countless frogs jumping onto beds, dust turning into lice, swarms of flies invading, livestock dying plague, and by the 7th plague, the situation became even more terrifying. A rare thunderstorm descended from the sky, but it didn't rain water. It rained huge hailstones mixed with fire. The mixture of ice and fire destroyed all the crops in the fields. Wailing was heard throughout Egypt. Only the place where the Israelites lived remained safe and sound. After enduring the locusts and the plague of darkness that lasted 3 days and nights, Pharaoh remained stubborn. Finally, God decided to deliver the last and most deadly blow: the striking of the firstborn. That night, the shadow of death covered Egypt. God commanded the Israelites to kill a lamb and paint its blood on their doorframes as a sign. The angel of death patrolled the land, and upon seeing the blood, would pass over. That night, throughout all of Egypt, from Pharaoh's palace to the prisoner's dungeon, every firstborn son died. An earth-shattering cry erupted across the entire nation. Pharaoh finally broke. He drove Moses and the Israelites out that very night. 2 million people left the land of slavery in a mighty procession. But the story wasn't over yet. Just a few days later, Pharaoh regretted his decision. He personally led 600 of his best chariots and his entire army to chase them down. The Israelites arrived at the Red Sea. With no path forward and pursuers behind, they were trapped. In despair, they cried out to Moses in fear, "Was there no burial ground in Egypt, that you brought us here to die?" Moses said to the people, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today." Moses walked to the seaside and stretched out his wooden staff over the sea. A miracle happened. A strong east wind blew all night, and the sea actually split down the middle. Walls of water stood up on the left and right like high walls, revealing dry ground in the center. The Israelites walked on dry land through the middle of the sea. At this moment, they witnessed the greatest miracle in history. Seeing this, the Egyptian army charged into the dry ground in the sea after them. But when the last Israelite stepped onto the shore, God said to Moses, "Stretch out your staff over the sea again." Moses stretched out his staff, and the huge walls of water on both sides instantly collapsed. The sea returned to its place, drowning Pharaoh's chariots, horsemen, and an entire army. Not a single one survived. The once arrogant imperial army vanished into the sea just like that. Day broke. The Israelites stood on the opposite shore, looking at the calm sea and the Egyptian soldiers washed up on the beach. They finally realized, we are free. 400 years of slavery came to an end at this moment. Moses and the people sang a song of victory by the sea. This is Exodus, a great story about courage, faith, and how God personally saved his people.